Now I recognize the member for Surrey Newton.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and congratulations for your new position. And at the same time, I would begin by congratulating the new minister as well. Mr. Speaker, when I looked at the first day back, it's always good to be back. When I looked at the agenda, the first thing on the agenda was Bill 29. And you know what? My natural reaction was to oppose Bill 29 because Bill 29 brings that historic memories and put shivers through my spine. And I said, there's no way that I would support that Bill 29, which was brought by the Liberals back then, throwing thousands of lower-paying healthcare workers on the streets, if you remember that, and by ripping up their collective agreements after saying that they will not rip up their collective agreements. But nonetheless, looking at the new Bill 29, today's Bill 29, looked at what's asked in here, I rise to support and will speak in favor of this Bill 29. And although, Mr. Speaker, I might say this bill is all to do about nothing. You look at it, 230-some municipalities, none of them exercise their right to tax the properties that are mentioned here that are being exempted by law now, other than 2 or 3 who tried, Mr. Speaker. So you would think that you are coming back here, and there are so many important things that you will be discussing for the fall session. But nonetheless, here is the bill that we are talking about. And I want to talk about there are independent schools, not very many in Surrey Newton, but we do have Khalsa School in my constituency. We have a Muslim school, and there are other schools as well. Mr. Speaker, Khalsa School is one of the major schools, along with the Muslim school. And here in Khalsa School, Mr. Speaker, they have overall was 6 campuses. And it is very popular with the many parents who would see this as an opportunity for their children to maintain their heritage, their religion, their cultural background by having the children to go to Khalsa School, where in addition to academic achievements, Mr. Speaker, they also look at the opportunity to, when they go to school, they learn about Sikh religion, cultural programs, Punjabi, of course, their language, and Sikh history. And Mr. Speaker, it's popular with many of my constituents because this, as somebody has said earlier here, that sometimes the public or the private schools are considered to be school for those who are well-to-do, but Khalsa school parents are ordinary working people, and they send their children to this school by simply making sure that their future generations continue to learn and maintain their cultural values, their heritage, their history, about their religion, Mr. Speaker, and this school gives them that opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, that's why I think the bill itself, although hasn't been acted upon or by the municipalities taking the opportunity to tax the properties that are outside of the school building and other school required facilities. In Surrey, I know it hasn't been, no initiatives have been taken, or no indication was there that they would start taxing these properties. But nonetheless, this bill will bring some clarity and direction for the municipalities all across the province, what can and cannot be taxed. So, Mr. Speaker, that's why I think it perhaps makes sense to bring some clarity here. But, Mr. Speaker, I think the issue that I want to talk about is issue that hasn't been talked about. Like I said earlier, you would think that the first day back in school, in legislature here, there's so many important issues that face constituents of every MLA that comes here in their own minds, in their own different regions, different issues in different areas. Mr. Speaker, none of that is here today. We started out with Bill 29, which practically speaking is doing nothing, because the taxes that were on these private schools or independent schools were yesterday will be the same tomorrow after passing this bill. And but although I said that the intention perhaps is good and it brings some clarity and give directions to the municipalities, but there are more important issues, Mr. Speaker, that we need to be talking about. We should talk about how do we support our teachers to give them tools so that they can deliver the top-notch education that our children deserve in their classrooms, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about that, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about giving tools to parents and to the students who go to school and they have everything that they need in order to achieve highest of their potential, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about that. Here in Surrey, Mr. Speaker, we should be talking about how do we come up with ways to fund new classroom spaces for 7,000 students who are getting their education in portables, 7,000 students, so that they could go and get their education in real classrooms, Mr. Speaker, and they deserve nothing less than that. But the government is always mum on that. They always come up with all kind of lofty slogans, catchy slogans, and but nothing to show for. And soon the new school is built, there are more portables to support the students because there isn't enough space, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about, Mr. Speaker, different schools that have staggered shifts for the teachers and the students because there is no space. We're not talking about how to eliminate that because that poses real hardship and inconvenience to the parents because they take one child at one time and they take another child at different times. It just add extra inconvenience and hardship to those parents, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we're not talking about how do we expand public transportation to Surrey. We have about half on per capita basis, half of the service south of the Fraser than compared to Vancouver and Richmond. And Vancouver and Richmond, Mr. Speaker, also need improvement. So, Mr. Speaker, we're not talking about some of those key issues that we need to talk about. We're not talking about how do we put together a comprehensive and really innovative way to fight those gangs that have created such a havoc for many, or almost all of the citizens of Surrey, where people feel that they are under siege, so that we can bring some order on our streets, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about that. That's what we should be talking about. Mr. Speaker, we're not talking about how do we turn around our forest industry so that we can add more value, create more jobs with the limited supply of timber that we have in the interior. We're not talking about how do we utilize the excess of logs available on the coast rather than ship them raw. How do we make them available to our local manufacturers so that they can be running at full capacity, creating more jobs, adding more values? Mr. Speaker, we're not talking about that either. We're not talking about all the mismanagement that is continuing on, where it's costing taxpayers every day extra dollar that it's basically wasted on some of the mismanagement initiative that this government has taken. For example, Portman Bridge, $100 million loss last year, Mr. Speaker. And who's going to pay for that? Mr. Speaker, it will be the taxpayers of south of Fraser will be asked to pay longer or higher tolls, Mr. Speaker. That's what's going to end up. We're not talking about that, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about Golden Ears Bridge, where taxpayers are paying $40 million every year for traffic that is not even there. Mr. Speaker, we're not talking about that. How do we cut the limited amount of resources available so that those resources can be diverted to improve our public transportation rather than throwing it in a hole, Mr. Speaker, as is the case today. So I mean, there are so many important issues to talk about, but the government is talking about something, practically speaking, nothing today, just to keep everyone busy, I guess. If this is for things to come in the next 6-7 weeks, I think these will be a long 6-7 weeks, talking about something that is nothing there, and talking about, Mr. Speaker, about the issues other than real issues that our constituents sent us here to talk about on their behalf, Mr. Speaker. As I said, bill will bring some clarity, yes. Bill will bring some direction to the municipalities. But, Mr. Speaker, since 2012, only 4 municipalities have considered removing permissive tax exemptions on independent schools. Only 4 out of 230 something. And Mr. Speaker, 2 eventually granted exemptions. So there isn't, there wasn't a huge demand, a huge danger or risk that somebody is out there looking at taxing the properties that haven't been taxed today. So, Mr. Speaker, I think this government have no more ideas left. If this is the sign of the future 6 weeks, no more new ideas, Mr. Speaker. They just want to bring issues that'll just keep us busy here. But we want to talk about some real issues that face our constituents, important issues that our constituents are really worried about, Mr. Speaker, on a daily basis. They're worried about their children and their education, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about that. We have post-secondary education, Mr. Speaker. South of Fraser, the participation rate is lowest in all of BC. Even when you compare that with the rest of the Lower Mainland, 11% compared to 24%, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about that. How do we add more spaces to post-secondary education so that the students in south of the Fraser have an institution to go to and utilize their skills, learn new skills, and are prepared to compete with the rest of the world in a new economy, innovative economy, Mr. Speaker. We're not talking about all of that. And Mr. Speaker, I think it's a disappointment that the first day back, we are talking about something about nothing. And I think that's something that is really concerning. And Mr. Speaker, I'm really happy that I was able to speak on this bill, and I will support this bill. Mr. Speaker, but I hope that soon the government will realize that we need to start to talk about some real issues facing British Columbians. Thank you very much.